Hi guys, Matt from the Big River here. We got more fish this week. Actually, a pretty good size order. Let's jump right in and see what we got. A lot of restocks, a few new things, a few old things we haven't had for a while. Really excited to show off some cool stuff. Speaking of hard to get recently, these are marble hatchets, and for whatever reason, those have been on the hard to get list this year. Got some discus in, didn't get as many as I'd hoped to get, but I did get some. I got one blue diamond instead of the batch that I ordered. And I got one pigeon checkerboard, rather than the batch that I ordered. But I got one. Here's a snow white, which is always fun. The 3-inch discus. We sell quite a few of those here actually, and we recommend getting the bigger guys. Here's a red cover discus also. I recommend getting 3-inch rather than trying to cheap out and get smaller ones. The smaller ones are not worth it in my opinion, because the amount of work that goes in to get small ones big is prodigious. We got a big batch of cardinals this week. These are the wild cardinals. We have a big batch last week of the tank raised cardinals, so we'll have both. There's half of the cardinals that we got in. Is this the other half? Yeah, they are. The other half came in a little bit on the small side. They're out of Colombia apparently. For our Tetra special, of course, buy 4 more, get 25% off for subscribing to our channel. Here are some yellowtail spiny eels. Got a group of those. Couple of groups of those and sold them out right away, so we got more. Been available, so we're getting them. Speaking of available and getting them, these are small clown loaches. Small, like 1 to 2 inch clown loaches. Nice, meaty, not the itty bitty bitty skinny ones that sometimes you'll see as a small clown loach. Here's another Tetra for the Tetra special. Looks like some of them didn't make the trip, but these are rummy nose Tetras. More Tetras for the Tetra special. These are platinum hatchets, go along with those marble hatchets. A double batch of those in right now. Let's get into some Grammies. These are powder blue dwarf Grammies. These are the females. Got males in also this week, or at least we should. We'll see if we find them. Red-tail hemiotis, an unusual Tetra. Again, for the Tetra special, those guys will get about that big, so not a tiny fish. A little bit on the skitsy side, but beautiful and not particularly aggressive. Pearl Grammies, these are large Pearl Grammies. Got the small ones over there also. Restock on those because they are amazing. Speaking of amazing, these are Half Moon Candy female bettas. Mouthful, beautiful fish. We've been selling a ton of those, and for good reason. They're beautiful. I haven't had these in a really long time. This is a leopard bushfish. Actually gets to be quite large, that big and fat. When they get bigger, they can eat larger fish than you think that they're going to. Up until that point, they're usually pretty easy going. Let's see, red-tail sharks. Doesn't seem like they got much for red tails, but that's because they're blanched in the bag. They'll redden up when they get put away. Remember, those guys are kind of a community fish. When they're small, they get big and ornery. Big guy. Wow, this is a polka dot squeaker, Synodontis angelicus. Probably the biggest one I've ever had, actually. So you can use some fattening up. But that's the Angelicus Synodontis, the rarest or the hardest to get Synodontis that we can actually get. There are some other ones that are extinct, so we can't get those. Pistogrammas, got a batch of those, several different types this week. This is the Panduros. We've been keeping those in stock recently. Again, it's easy to miss the pistos because they're kind of small and hide up behind stuff. If you're looking for dwarf cichlids, we have several different ones. I have a lot of them on this order. Powder blue dwarf Grammy males, I promise you, are right there. So that's one box down. How many to go? 2, 4, 6 more boxes to go. Lots of fish this week. No reptile or saltwater. I couldn't find any one source that had enough to make it make sense for us, but we'll be at it again next week, doing what we do, which is going out and finding the coolest stuff that is out there and bringing them to you. Again, because that's what I do. All right, next up out of this box we have ruby tetras. I love these little guys. Tiny little tetra, get bright red like a chili raspberry. They're a little bit sexually dimorphic, so the males are redder than the females. Not very often available, but we got them right now. Leopard danios. Those are the spotted version of the, well, Daniel world. We have zebra daniels over there too. They almost look exactly the same. I was mistaken. I think I used to think they were the same species. They are not. Koi angelfish. That's a little bit of a bigger size than we average get on those. Not quite a large, so we'll call them a premium medium koi angelfish. Adelphi Cories. He who dives with the most Cories wins around here. And we got a lot, but we were out of Adelphis because we sold out, so we got another batch. Nice black bar on top. Beautiful animal. Pictus cats have been kind of hard to get this year, and we got some, so there they are. Remember, they get good size and will eat small fish. Those wide barbels indicate a predator. Here's some of those Opistos I promised you. These are gold red. I put them under the gold flash part number. I might switch that up because they're a little bit different. Really pretty. Yellow body, red fins. Another Pisto. This is the Borelli Blues. Sometimes we get in the Borelli Opals also, but just the blues this week. And one more Pisto bag. This is Super Reds, the Cockatoides Super Red. So two varieties of Cockatoides, or cockatoo cichlid. That would have been the gold reds were a cockatoo, and then the Super Reds. Lots of different species of Opisto. And then on top of that, there's a lot of different cultivars or color variants inside those. Some of those are naturally occurring and some of those are man-made. So a whole lot of ways to get confused when trying to figure out what's what in the Opisto world. They are all bright colored, cool little fish that we can bring to you. Here are some Emperor Tetras. Came in pretty small on the Tetra Special, of course. 4 more, get 25% off. They are actually, the Emperors are not a small Tetra. They'll get a couple inches. This is a baby monster, speaking of big, but much bigger than that. The Silver Arowana will get 4 feet potentially and outgrow just about any tank you can find. Speaking of big animal, but not that big, this is a Blackberry Silver Dollar. Can get big like a red hook. Only it's the second time recently we've been able to find these blackberries. They got that big black blotch on them as opposed to like a Schomburgk's black bar. So we've got a nice little batch of those guys and a good price on them too. I've seen these guys on the wholesale market for more than we're going to be able to bring them to you for. So very happy to offer deals when we can. Speaking of deals, got Spotted Blue Eye Rainbow, or the Sunomogol Gertrude, on special this week, and so we brought some in. I realized we were out. I thought we had low stock, we had no stock, so we got more. Another blackberry for you. Here is some Hillstream Loaches. This is reticulated. Got a big batch last week. Some of them were a special order, and then we sold right out right after that, so we had to get more. Doing what we do, buy fish and then buy more fish. Agassiz Fire Red. This is another Pistogramma. I told you, lots of Opistos on this order. I think that is the last of them for this week, though. Again, if you're not seeing the ones you want, because there's lots to choose from, let me know. We'll get them. Siamese Algae Eater. That's the quintessential hair algae eater. Remember, they'll get about 4 inches. They're not horribly aggressive like a Chinese algae eater, but not appropriate for a nano tank. You'd use your Amano shrimp for that. In that case, there's another blackberry. How many blackberries we got in there? I know it's 6, but it always feels like more when I'm pulling them out of the box. Dwarf Amber Barb. If you can see them in there, they're tiny. They are either the tiniest or the tied for tiniest or second tiniest tropical fish available. They are something crazy weird and cool. Great for your nano tank. Here's a Lemon Tetra, also on the Tetra Special. Buy 4 more of those guys, get 25% off. Always silver in the bag, but they'll lemon up or turn nice bright yellow with a little white bar and a black bit. Really neat fish. Speaking of neat fish, these are Mosaic Brown Hillstream Loaches, or Brown Mosaic. I guess get the word order right there. Another one of those cool little suckers. Neon Green Rasbora. I think we got them as green neon rasboras in our system. Microdevario cubitai if we're going to do Latin. Great little fish for your nano setup. They kind of have the shape of a neon tetra, but don't get bigger than what our larges always come in at. So they are a microfish, and in the Rasbora group, they are generally located over by our chili Rasboras and like the ruby tetras and stuff like that. That's down to 4 boxes. We're almost halfway, guys. Stick with us. We got so much more to bring you. Pygmy Cories, I think. Yep, they're moving so fast I couldn't see them. Pygmy Cories have been hard to get, but we got a batch last week and we got another batch this week. So we are stocked on Pygmy Cories for the moment. Common Autos, gotta love those. Great for your brown algae or your diatom algae. And they'll eat the algae off your plants without damaging the plants. Another one of my favorite nanofish-ish. Not quite a nanofish. These are Synodontis lucipennis, or the dwarf petricoli. Only get about 2.5, 3 inches, and are really pretty easy going. I don't know if I'd trust them with shrimp, but very cool little fish. Dopo butterfly, it's a type of pleco. We have generally keep these in stock. They've been a little bit hard to get. They'll call them the flounder or the chameleon pleco. Got the nice little spot pattern, but they change color based on the background. They do it quick, so that's why they call them chameleon. Talked about these earlier. Chili raspberries, little bright firecrackers, great little nano fish. Gotta love them. And here is some cichlids. These are the threadfin acaras. Threadfin acaras get good size like an earth eater, but they're in the acara group. A little bit difference in their structure, but they act about the same as like your Svennies or those guys. 8 inches max on them, not particularly aggressive. Here's a glass cat for you. There's actually a lot of different types of glass cats. I was looking through some of the old stuff that we'd had and hadn't had for a while. And the Asian glass cats, there's about 3 different species. Generally, does it say the vitrolus? That is what we normally get, but there's a couple other species that occasionally get sparkled in. And there's a really cool guy from Africa that has a black line. Maybe I'll bring some of those in. I haven't had them in a really long time. Neon tetra, gotta have those guys, your quintessential community fish. Got a great big batch of those guys on our tetra special. Buy 4 or more, you get 25% off. Here's more cories. Hey, you guys all been waiting for these. These are the dainty cories. Got a batch in last week, sold out most of them. Got a couple the week before, sold out all of those. Every time we've gotten them in the last couple months, the few times we've gotten them, they sold out quick. So we have a new stock on those. If you want them, get them before they go away. They are put a very small cory. They only get to about an inch. These guys, the dainties, actually act like a cory, unlike the pygmies that get up and tetra imitate, which is cool in its own right. But if you're looking one that will sit on the bottom and act like a catfish, that the dainty is your guy. All right, big bags in here. What do we got? Porthole cats, sold out of those last week. Fun, really easygoing catfish. They'll get 3 inches-ish, maybe 4. So good size. They like to be in a school. They got the flag tail on them. Small mouths. They typically don't bug other fishes. Yellow squeaker, got a few different catfish on this order. They had a nice variety of Synodontis available, so we took advantage of that. The yellow squeaker, or the Shoutedeni, actually comes from the same waters as the Shoutedeni puffer, and they are actually good tank mates together. We got those to cohab. Unlike most puffers, that is a reasonable possibility. Another nano fish, did a lot of restock in the nano area. This is the neon blue rasbora, or Sundandanio goblinus. You know, I just love that they called him a goblin. Don't know why, but it tickles me. Roseline sharks, restock on those guys. Always keep a nice batch of those guys on hand. Great community fish. If you got a 4-foot tank or better. Big animal, what do we got? Oh, another Seno. This is a leopard Synodontis. Nice size on this guy. Bigger than the last one we just sold, actually. These guys can get like 12 inches or more. So they're a bigger Seno, but they've got the thin body shape. They're the biggest of the leopard group. There's like 6 different Senos of different sizes and roughly the same pattern of the leopard Synodontis. Here's chain loaches, restock on these guys. I think we got a double batch. I got some from 2 different sources. The chain loaches are a small loach, only get about that size. Great snail patrol. Typically won't mess with your community fish like some of your other good snail patrolling loaches. So cool loach. I love them anyway, and then they are a great snail patrol. Again, he who dies with the most cories wins, and we are winning for sure. Bandit cories, that's the metes. We've had the Melinis or the false bandits in a couple times the last 6 months, but the metes have been kind of MIA, out there robbing banks or something, but we got them for you today. All right, that's that for that group. Here's a whole nother batch of fish. I think we got some plants in the box here somewhere too. First up, guppies. Got a lot of guppies in this week. Let's see what all we got. I did buy something that was kind of a premium guppy. I think that's them right there. These white with the black body. They call them a white tuxedo. Paid a little extra for those, but look pretty nice in the bag. Giant Daniels, 3rd batch in a row on Giant Daniels. We've been selling those faster than we can get them in. So if you want Giant Daniels, we got them. Remember, about 3-inch fish. They were a good dither fish in a more aggressive tank. Lots of movement. A fun fish. Glowfish, Fruity Pebbles. Gotta love them. Then we've got the Norman's Lamp Eyes. Looks like one of them didn't make the trip, but in general, a couple of them didn't. Norman Lamp Eyes are, we put them in the community aisle. They got a small mouth, usually pretty easy going. They're not tiny. They get about 1.5 inches. Lamp Eye Kelly. These are koi swordtails. Some of those have skinny bellies. We'll have to work on those a little bit, but we'll get those going for you. And more guppies. Lots and lots of guppies this week. Because we sold a lot of guppies this week. That's what we do. Wow. All right, cool. These are the panda loaches, or the striped panda loach. They lose some of their stripe patterns to get a little bigger, but they have such a cool marking. They are a hill stream loach. Says there's something in here. What is it? Oh, there's those other batch of dwarf chain loaches. Not a bad size on those. So I've got dwarf chain loaches and more dwarf chain loaches. Can't be out of them. The Great Snail Patrol. There's more of those guppies we promised you, because apparently I went nuts on the guppies. Here's more glowfish. We were out of a couple colors, so we restocked those. Didn't have any of the Priscillas. Otherwise, I would restock some of those. Maybe that'll be next week. We'll see. Dwarf frogs. I love the dwarf frogs. Great in a community tank as long as they get food, though they do get big enough to start eating tiny fish at some point. So you got to watch for that as they finally figure out how to eat and then don't figure out how to stop. Here's those plants I promised you. This Amazon swords, nice big batch of Amazon swords, and go along with the restock on plants we got last week. We got a lot of plants in right now. Here's some cherry shrimp. Bloody Marys have not been available for a couple months now, but we got plenty of cherry shrimp. We might pick up a different grade of cherries since I can't get the Bloody Marys. Ghost shrimp, a couple of those were bodies, but looks like most of them in good shape. Here's something cool. We've been getting in some goldfish of a little higher caliber, and then really the price has been pretty fantastic on these too. These are Thai bred goldfish with great colors, and we got in a bigger size this week. We got small ones in last week. Here's some more of the small ones. Got a nice variety. Looks like some pandas and tricolors. Great looking fish for a good price point. And then I got the bigger ones too. Here's another batch of the bigger ones. So got in some really nice goldfish. Believe it or not, it's been horribly vexing to find high quality goldfish last decade. But they're out there. We just have to go find them. One of our regular suppliers has recently ventured into that partnership and bringing us some really great animals. Here are some more shrimp. Those are the red crystal shrimp and a mono shrimp. This looks like the large ones, back in stock on large. Those went out of stock for about a month, but it looks like we got those back. And here's small monos, not that much smaller than the big ones, but so we got two sizes. Can't wait till we can get some of those extra larges for you again. And last thing on the order, a little batch of feeder comets. No feeder guppies this week. They were out of stock at our supplier. It's better than last week when they sent them all dead. So that's it for our order, guys. Thanks for hanging in there. We'll see you soon.